Black Sands Entertainment?
So Black Sands Entertainment, we started the company in 2016, and Black Sands was supposed to be a video game, but the video game production was so expensive, we had to scratch that and pivot it over to a comic book because it was more affordable to us. So we ended up raising $20,000 on Kickstarter to fund those comic books, and ever since we did that, Black Sands has taken off to the
Yeah, so what we've done over the last 5 years has been huge. I mean, we've done a lot of comic books. We also started publishing for other creators as well, bringing their books into the market, and started raising capital in 2020, right? And I'm telling you, when we did that, like, it really took off because our fans finally had a chance to own a piece of our company, right? And once you got ownership involved, people get a little excited. So it's been a phenomenal time, and we're happy to talk about it here at Deloitte.
Lovely. So, Manuel, what first drew you to the idea of a comic series focused on African history?
Well, one thing, I was just looking at the way the industry has been avoiding anything that will involve African people that didn't involve slavery, right? If it was slavery, it was good, we get a check, right? But when it comes to any content about any kingdom prior to slavery, we were excluded. And I felt like there was a reason we had to go into that ourselves, because if we didn't, then it never would happen. So we started with Black Sands, focused on media for hours, and then later on we had publishing opportunities for other creators who did stories on the Mali Empire, the Kingdom of Madagascar, the Moors, right? Because we want to tell all those stories that basically, I would never get a chance to. So that's our agenda, that's how we've done it. And it works because our people would love to have legacies for their kids to look back on, not just parents.
Love it, love it, love it. And so before we jump into talking about your Shark Tank experience this year, tell us about the challenges you faced, right? So you talked about the fact that, clearly when a lot of people thought about the Black community, they didn't focus on this rich aspect of our culture, right? So I can only imagine how hard it is to sell something that's different than what people expect. But to share with us the challenges that you face in getting this off the ground.
Oh, yeah. Well, besides the financial ones, but I know Giselle's been going financial side of it, right? But the reality is there's no lucrative Black comic industry out there, right? I'm not going into the highly established Black comic book space. So you always got to cultivate your own fan base, right? From the ground up. Start with your first 100 fans, right? And, that is a problem for me, not only just for me, but any other creator in the space. They have to make their own fan base, right? You can't borrow Black Panther's fan base, right? You have to make your own. And that's always been difficult throughout the years. We've had to really think carefully about how we make our financial moves, because I think it lines of credit, even though I had plenty of sales, right? Because, Black business, we tend to have a lot more requirements than necessary in order to get lines of credit. So, always got to be meticulous on how you spend your money, right? Work within your means and scale properly, because we can't be as risky as other businesses.
And just to think back on all the challenges that we had, we both have military backgrounds. So we both had a hard time finding jobs. That was a very, very tough situation for us. So we had to come up with our own platform, our own company, so we can have a steady income coming in, at the age of 25, I went to school, I had a master's degree. And I couldn't find a job in my field, guys. Couldn't find a job. I would end up working at Target, stocking shelves. And I'm like, really? Seriously? I went to school for all these years, and this is what I'm doing? So we just wanted to create something for ourselves so we can, of course, make the money and also give back to the Black and brown community so we can be excellent role models for them.
And we hear that so often. I know just recently I received a message from a student online saying, oh my God, I studied psychology and I have no idea what to do with this, and I still come to work at Deloitte. And I'm like, I'm going to talk to some people. We're trying to see what we can do, but it is a hard we are expecting that over the next 5 to 10 years, that the job demand will triple. And so again, there's so much opportunities here. But I'm cutting out and asking those shameless plugs. You said you're number one. What goes into that?
Well, so let's say this. The last 2 years, we've raised $2 million in advance. We've also done well over $2 million in sales to date for our company.
Okay.
Amazing Comics was the first webtoon app for Black comics in the world, so we've done that last year. We've also, let's see what else we've done. Number one comic book Patreon community, period. So we do the most income out of all comic books on the platform. We've been Amazon bestseller multiple times. The sky's the limit. and that's all before Shark Tank happened, right? So that's one of the things that is probably the most important factor. It's a simple factor. This is before Shark Tank even aired. So sky's the limit.
And we talked a little bit about that, right? So $2 million in sales. Are you a comic book company?
I would say I'm more of an entertainment. So we're in the entertainment space. We're not in the comic book space because the majority of our customers are our parents and your kids, educators, and not so much die-hard comic book fans or collectors and stuff like that. So we're definitely in the entertainment space as far as who our customer base is. And comics is just a medium from which we tell our stories.
And how much do your books cost? And oh, by the way, every single person in this room will get a copy of the comic book that we can do. How much do those comics cost?
Yeah, so the hardcover is $20 each, right? So this one right here, right? About $20, and y'all can get, everybody's gonna get a copy, right? And this is like really high level stuff. Like one thing I will say about the stuff that we make is that we literally invested everything into the production quality, right? So the hardcovers, the library bound, the artwork is absolutely phenomenal, easily a top 10, art style. And we did that because, at the end of the day, if you're trying to compete, right, you can't out-brand something like Black Panther or something, right? You just can't out-market them, right? So you gotta just have better quality. The only way you're gonna be able to compete. And that's what we focus on.
Love it. So you introduced Shark Tank again. Tell us what your experience has been after Shark Tank, after the Shark Tank experience. Actually, first of all, because I know when we were on the call, we were real hyped. Tell us about actually being on Shark Tank.
Oh, that experience, guys, was amazing. It was amazing. Kevin Hart, when we found out he was going to be there, we said, okay, we gotta make sure we bring a great presentation to him, So once we got on that stage and the camera started rolling, we brought our A game, guys. We brought our A game, and all the sharks were just so amazed at our presentation, and then we knew our numbers, that we knew our financial numbers. That's one of the biggest things on Shark Tank, where the sharks are not willing to invest because the business owners don't know their numbers. You watch the show, they don't know their numbers, they're stuttering, they're like, no. But once we got up there and they asked questions about the numbers, they were very impressed. They were all smiling, and therefore all the sharks were fighting over our company. They all wanted a piece of the pie, guys. They all wanted it. And they said none of the positive things to us on that stage. It was an amazing experience that I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, and after Shark Tank, we got a whole bunch of media places because, for the longest time, we were the best kept secret in the Black community, right? But once we got that done, we really started seeing a massive amount of potential. For instance, we've been on the Breakfast Club since then, Kelly Clarkson show. We just got a piece in Time magazine, right? So, it's the sky's the limit for us. And like we said before, you put your mind through something, even if you fail, don't give up. Keep going, guys. Because you're gonna fail at some point, you're gonna be deterred not to continue on your journey.
don't let that stop you. Keep going, because we had a lot of situations where people told us, no, you're not good enough. No, I went back to the second time. No, you're not good enough. Went back a third time. And they finally said yes. So don't stop. Keep continue to be on the journey of your dreams.
Okay, by the way, I'm not going to be the only one asking questions today, so if you have a question, just raise your hand and we will get a microphone to you, but I'll keep going until we see a hand raised.
And before this question, I just want to say with the big word my husband was talking about, with this contract, God, for all you future accountants out there, you have to know your numbers in any business that you want to create or go into. Knowing financial accounting is very, very, very important, And if you have a strong background in accounting, this will help you just produce amazing numbers and also help you look out for fraud. Because the number one thing is why businesses go under is because of trust. They trust any and everybody without vetting the person or doing their due diligence. And that's when the fraud comes in because they trust any and everybody, And knowing your numbers, knowing how to do your accounting books every month, reconcile your books, that's very important. And I also have taken a financial accounting class through Outlier that's taught by Dr. Kelly Pope. It's an amazing class. I hope you guys check it out. And it teaches you all the important stuff about financial accounting so you can thrive in your business.
No, we're definitely going to come back to that. I'm not going to miss an opportunity to use the word accounting at least 10 times before this conversation is over. I like to plug it into random places that make no sense whatsoever. But we're definitely going to spend some more time talking about that. Can you just introduce yourself and then ask your question?
Hello. My name's Kevin Deloitte.
Yeah, brother.
Hey, my name's Kevin Deloitte. I just wanted to give you all flowers because I have a stepson that is completely engulfed in black sand. He watches it on YouTube. That's it. Watching on YouTube. And but he's been waiting for to get on TV. Is this what the big wars coming in 10?
Yeah, it might be TV, it might be film, it might be like movie theaters, right? So you don't know exactly what you're going to take, but a lot of money involved.
I want to say maybe going where it actually happened that because he came to me and was like, hey, I heard about this black anime. And I was like, black anime? And then he showed us and I was like, oh, this is awesome. So thank y'all for doing this and getting over having a black anime.
Thank you for sharing. Good stuff. I'm going to tell you, I am definitely looking forward to getting on the comics. I have 6 nephews, and it's my 3 siblings, and we're actually all going to be together in Orlando after the July 4th holiday. So I'm going to see who's naughty, who's nice, who actually gets to take one home, and I may have to buy more, so we'll see. But super, super excited. So let's talk a little bit more though about the fact that you took an accounting course. What led to that?
Okay, so my husband was on Instagram and he saw this fabulous ad with Dr. Kelly Pope. He was like, oh my God, you need to check this out. It's through the school called Outlier. And I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is very interesting. They were talking about ways to, that you can spot fraud and stuff like a fraud investigation. And so I immediately signed up for this course. And I just finished the course this past Monday, and it has been absolutely amazing. It helped me to improve my accounting skills and also hire the best accounting team for my business. And it helped me learn about the GAAP regulations, the SEC, and all that great stuff. And these are things that you really need to know as an accountant, guys. This is really, really important. And most businesses go out of business. Okay, so 90% of small businesses go out of business because they don't manage the money right. They don't have the accounting skills they need. So this class from Outlier, I would recommend you guys take by Dr. Kelly Pope. It's really, really amazing, and you guys will learn a lot.
And I also want to emphasize that you see a lot of times if you watch Shark Tank, some of these companies have millions of dollars in sales and not get a deal because they spent like millions plus one, right, in acquiring their customers. And they don't see a problem with that, but an investor will see a huge problem with that. Because then when they're my area, get my capital back, you'll have to do like $100 million in sales. before I even get close to breaking even. And you know, that's the reality of business in general. You can't just, you gotta know that you have to have a certain margin when you're acquiring customers, you know, the life of a customer, you know, and everything else. And if you don't know that, you don't know who your customer is, you don't know your margins, you don't know any of this stuff, at the end of the day, you won't be able to run a business, right? So a lot of accountants are business owners. They're not working at a firm, you know, and they gotta know, you know, how to run everything, not just, you know, do accounting for others, but for themselves, you know. So I just think it's very important you know what you should be looking for. Otherwise, you know, you can have significant financial hardships. These are easily the kind of hardships that destroy you instantly. It's like it's not something that creeps up on you. Just let you know, you forgot to pay $300,000 in taxes. So you're officially in debt and you're going to jail. Like, whoa! I can't fix this.
No, I mean, so I think you guys are spot on, and you know, you're sharing what we've been sharing for the last year. A lot of our Deloitte professionals have been in high schools talking to students about accounting, and so many times when you ask them what you want to do, they're like, I want to be an entrepreneur. But they don't realize how important accounting is because you want to understand the language of business. And accounting is just that, the language of business, right? And so we always use examples of, and I'm not going to say the full term, but you know, Rihanna has a song out there, You Better Have My Money, because her accountant stole her money because she didn't understand the language of business at the time. And now she's a billionaire, she understands that language, right? As an example. And so it's just super important. You know, I think Cardi B had a video on, was it Twitter or Instagram, I know we were sharing it around, where she was telling some fans, like, if you want to have a business, you better go out and take at least one business course, because she's like, I have to hire people, and I still don't know if I trust them. And so, clearly important.
Yeah, so since I'm the CFO of my company, I look at my money every day, my bank account. I just don't give my money to TV. I'm serious, guys. I don't let anybody pay for my money. I'm in charge of my own money in my bank account. So, and that's how people, you know, they, like I said, trust. And you have to be very, very careful who you trust over your money. But like I said, I'm the boss of my money. So you guys should be boss over your money too.
We got a question up here, but while we're doing that, anything else? Okay, question right here. Introduce yourself and ask a question.
My name is Destin Araya. I'm a rising sophomore at Howard University, and basically with how you said you have to trust like yourself with the money, how did you separate like, okay, first I want to say black love it, just want to say that first. Like, how did you separate like professional and work?
So to be honest, back in the past, I lost a lot of money when I was very young. I had no money, I was in debt. I lost my apartment, my cars. So that was one of the reasons why I went into the military. And I said, when I start over the second time, I'm going to do it right now. I'm not going to fail this time. So when I went into the military, I did not party. I stayed in my room. Every check that I got on the first 15, I put that money in my account. And once I came out of the military, I already had like $20,000 saved. So, and now it's discipline. It really is discipline. Because we've been in business 5 years, and it took us like 3.5 to 4 years before we started paying ourselves. You have to set that mindset and be disciplined, not go out there, okay, I got $100,000, I'm going to buy me a G-Wagon. No, don't do that. It's okay if you drive a Ford, you know. Don't go and spend all your money and, you know, to be being bankrupt, you know, because you didn't above your means. It takes discipline.
Yeah, it takes that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Can be problematic. With that being said, I think you said about personal versus business, right? Like how to separate that. Well, as an entrepreneur, there is no personal life. I just want to let you know that. You'll be working at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, randomly. But with that being said, you also have ultimate freedom, right? So if I don't feel like doing anything today, I can, right? And so that's the thing. At any given point in time, I'm taking a meeting or working with my team or something like that. At the same time, I could also just say, not good today, right? So it kind of works both ways. Me personally, I'm a social media guy, so there really is no defined definition of personal life because I'm always out there talking or getting something going. So yeah.
Yeah, you really don't have a personal life. But since I'm the owner of my company, I love what I do. Like, I wake up in the morning and can go and just work whenever I want to or come up with new creative ideas for my company is so rewarding and exciting to me. So,
Oh, wait, we got another question right here, right here.
Hi, my name is Shannon Wilson, and I'm part of Deloitte, and so happy to have you here. This is awesome.
thank you.
I want to go back to our question. My husband owns a construction company. He built our home, and I was the interior decorator, so we had to work together. And so that was very difficult to separate, our marriage relationship from the business aspects of what we're trying to accomplish. And so do you guys face those challenges and how do you handle that?
Some tough questions. Yeah, I love the question. Perfect. So, you know what? It's all about respect. So if I love him so much and I have so much respect for him, I love being in his presence every day. We're like best friends. So we have no conflict at all. We in each other's faces every day working together. And he's bouncing out ideas to me, I'm bouncing out ideas to him. So we have, and people are like, how many guys working together all the time? Don't you get sick of each other? I'm like, no, he's my best friend. So I guess that's something you have to grow, and that respect and love for each other, you have to grow and cultivate together. So we have no issues at all.
And one thing is, we're mad at third parties. So, we're cursing out third parties in the house, right? But for the most part, the number one rule when you're working with your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever, or girlfriend, is the reality is that you need to have a clear separation of powers. So do not do the same job no matter what. So for me, right, I'm creative. I'm always on social media, right? I'm working on distribution of books and sales and recruiting. And Giselle's working on the financial side of things, accounting, taxes, all the things that we need to do with anything involved with the finances. And because of that, I'm not stepping my toes into her field, right? And she don't step into mine. And then nobody can get blamed for anything that goes wrong, right? It's like it's my job, my responsibility, I'm gonna fix it, blah, blah, blah. And that's how you really feel great about things. Because you can always disagree with how someone's doing it, but if it's not your responsibility at all, there'll never be a conflict because of that. You know what I'm saying? But if both of y'all are responsible for the same thing and something doesn't work out, then you start playing the blame game.
Okay, while we're waiting for other questions, I'll throw in another one. So you guys got the pleasure of seeing 6-year-old Talia. What did you guys want to be when you were younger? Like, what did you think you would be? And what is where you are now mean to you?
So when I was younger, I wanted to go in the healthcare field because all my siblings are nurses, But now, looking back into where I am now, I would trade for anything where I would love what I'm doing. To be my own boss, to be the CFO of my company. It's just amazing.
Yeah, me, was a video game developer, so crash and burn there, right? But I shall be back one day, right? So that was my destiny. It still is my destiny. It'll come eventually. Like Sam will become a video game one day.
We have another one here.
Hi, pleasure to meet you. I'm so excited about the great things that you're doing. It's so exciting to see minority individuals going out for doing business steps, taking the plunge and each step going out on faith and, creating something that's amazing for African Americans. And I'm so excited. I have a question. How much do you need to actually start a business?
Varies.
It varies depending on what you're going to. If you don't have the funds to be doing something creative, you can go on Kickstarter and raise funds there. Kickstarter. Yes, that's where creators go to raise money from fans and from people who's interested in your creative ideas. So Kickstarter is number one that a lot of people use.
Yeah, and it really depends on the kind of business. I always tell people never start with a storefront, right? Because that's a huge financial commitment. That's at least 6 months long. Don't do that unless you're very, very, very established as far as how much you put aside and your plan on how to do it, and have people who are already in that field mentor you. But if you're going to like a creative field or something like that, you know, at least a couple $1,000s to go and pay for the initial work. And like Giselle said, going on Kickstarter and having a successful Kickstarter campaign will start your career. It will be a little slow, but at least you'll have the funds to finish your first project. Then you might go to shows, go to festivals, Comic-Cons, or whatever, to start and kind of make that regular revenue, right? And eventually make online stores after that, right? But not everybody can sell online marketing and stuff. So I try to pick the safest ways, which is like conventions. Conventions is a good, easy way to get consistent income out of your products.
Did you do any YouTube? Did you advertise on YouTube for live stands?
Yeah, so I've always been on YouTube for the longest time. It does help, right? I'm not a big YouTube investor, right? I've been mostly Facebook and Instagram most of my career. But like I said, other people have done hardcore YouTube, right? I have a lot of friends who are millions of followers on there, and it's all their revenue comes from YouTube, right? So it really depends on which way you're trying to go. What your field is too is very important, because certain fields just don't matter if you're on YouTube or not, right? And certain fields, it's like YouTube is that field. You know what I'm saying? So.
And my next question is, did you go through a patent attorney?
Patents?
A patent attorney.
Yeah, wait a minute. Patents are only for like technology, stuff like that. So mostly these copyrights. Copyrights are just for your any properties that you're developing, especially description or drawing. For trademarks, you only need that if you're doing a significant amount of income. People try to do trademark right away. It's like use all your startup money, right?
Okay, so while you guys are thinking of your question, here's my next one. What advice do you have for this group?
Become a CPA. From a CPA. And why do you think they would love to hire black people to do these things? But they can't, because there ain't none. That's the problem. They're the companies, right? And they're usually overbooked. So we need a lot more. You just want to spend your money, with your people and stuff like that whenever you can. Don't underbid yourself. CPAs are expensive. It's a great lifestyle if you can maintain that certification. Right? So do it. You're going to be accountant, go all the way to the top. Don't just, don't go low. Even lawyers. Lawyers in this field, they're all CPAs. They don't just say, oh, I'm a lawyer, I do finance. They're like, I am a CPA as well. Right? Because they have to know everything. They have to be able to really review, documentation properly. So do that. It's way worth it. You're going to accountant, go straight to the top. And there's not a lot of competition. It really isn't.
And not only CPA, forensic accountants. We need more of those people who can spot fraud, And also managerial accountants too, where you can manage the company within your business. So, yeah.
I love it. I'm sorry, this is time for another shameless plug because you guys set it up. How many of my professionals in here have worked on startup audits? Okay, we got a couple, so you're right, there are experiments. Shanika's hand up, I can't even see her, she's making nice to be back there. Great, awesome, startup audit, so you're absolutely right. It's one of my favorite things to do, working with smaller companies who hopefully someday will go public. That's your dream. So, awesome stuff. How many do you have any forensic accountants in the house today? Forensic, we got one back there. Okay, so we got a forensic accountant. Awesome, good stuff. And so again, all represented at Deloitte. I want to pause again before we go to wrap. We got a question back there.
Hello, my name is Paula Sugo-Roshla. I go to University University. I study business economics. My question for you is, when did you start delegating tasks? Because I know a lot of entrepreneurs have the mindset of, I can do everything myself, and they don't delegate, and how do you get yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in not wearing too many hats. At the end of the day, you know what you're good at and what you're bad at, right? And a lot of people don't accept hiring for art. So I've always hired out for art. I've also hired out for project management when it came to certain things like maybe animation or YouTube content, stuff like that. At the end of the day, I could do it myself, right? It would be subpar, but I could do it myself, save some money or whatever. But I always believe there's no point in ever saving money on a product, right? You save money on time or whatever, but never save money on like actual something that's going to go out to a customer, right? And just delegating your people right. Now, one thing is pay everybody. All right, don't go and get partnerships. All right, don't be like, hey, you get 20% of it. Pay them. Just pay them. Do a contract, 1099, call it a day, right? But yeah, always delegate your roles, and you're going to have a lot of long-term success with no financial litigation later on because somebody decided to stick around forever.
Okay, I'm going to take the final question. Oh, we got one right here. Right here.
Hi, my name is Sophie. I'm a student at Western University. So my question is, as a black startup, I was wondering, I know you had a lot of challenges trying to start your business, or like finances or regulatory challenges. I'd like to know how you went about it, and I'd also like to know where or what your target market is, and who your competitors are, and are there things you're doing to expand the market or your target market? Yes.
We definitely in the beginning had financial challenges. We applied for a business loan, got denied about 3 times. So we had to use our personal credit cards to finance our business in the beginning. And it's been a struggle. It really has, but we never gave up. We knew one day we would succeed. We always kept a positive mindset. And it's been great. We don't let our challenges deter us.
Yeah, and for our target market is, typically we are targeting people from 25 to 44. So that's your first generation of parents, right? And the kids, it's usually a gift market. So we're we buy our stuff as gifts for another party, right? That tends to be the overwhelming amount of customers that we have. I say our competitors, like, we have competitors in our space that are independent publishers as well, right? Some of them like Varsity or Saturday AM, they're ones that are more in the independent space. And then you obviously got the big boys like the Marvel and DC of the world. But I don't really feel like we're direct competitors to them yet, right? I feel like more competitive with Scholastics, right? That entertainment type thing. And obviously we got a long way to go before we ever actually really compete with them. But they aren't the same kind of people, so we are going after the same kind of customers. We've made a lot of strategies to get to that point, to scale up to that point, but it's really hard to get to that level of success without knowing the right people, which is why we're happy to deal with Shark Tank, because they're going to help a lot with that credibility factor. Entertainment is all about who you know, and that's not it. That's literally like the whole, you got the best rock in the world, and you're like, yeah, but who do you know, right? So, we got the biggest names in the block now, so.
Yes, you do. Yes, you guys said that you talk to Kevin all the time.
Yeah, we actually talk to Kevin all the time. He's an awesome entrepreneur, very, very intelligent, very busy. He has so many companies that he manages, and out of his busy schedule, he still takes the time out to talk to us. So it's amazing.
Love it. So I'm going to just end with one more question per se. And by the way, I gotta make sure that is fire. It's moving. Gotta get one of those for sure. In our prep conversation, one of the things that you said was, through this whole journey, you kept in mind who you are, and that you had to follow your own path. Just some final thoughts with regards to that.
Yeah, well, that's more of my social media dinner, right? I always tell people, no more slave stories, time for kings. Actually, I'm about to start a podcast soon, and that was my first episode, right? slavery was a choice. And everybody was like, what is that? He said, is that a Kanye book? I'm like, yeah, but Kanye was talking about something different from what I'm talking about. And it's the entertainment industry, and Samuel Jackson used to talk about this as well. Right? You want that Oscar, you gotta take a terrible role. You gotta take a role that's basically something that they want you to have, like maybe play a slave or someone suffering or a drug dealer or something like that. And then you get that Oscar. You got a million roles that were amazing, but you ain't gonna get the Oscar unless you get that. And a lot of people make these choices to be in these films or direct these films or whatever because they want that award, right? Not necessarily because it's great content to create. So when we were doing Black Santa, we're going to force our way into the finish line. Like, we're not going to wait for somebody to fund us. If we need millions of dollars, we'll do it with fans. If we need talent, we're going to recruit it ourselves. And with that inevitability that our product has, finally people in Hollywood will see like, well, if it's coming no matter what, we might as well benefit from it, right? And now they can deal with it. Before, if it was just a random script, Black Santa's random script, being submitted, it wouldn't see the light of day in Hollywood. But the fact is, it's coming out whether you like it or not. Now they're like, hey, let me go and see if we can make some plays here and everything else. So, like I said, our whole status has always been do it yourself, right? And don't let them tell you what history you can celebrate. You tell your own history, you celebrate what the heck you feel like, because it's yours to own. And one of the last examples I've always given people was, British people are the first ones to claim every single Greek achievement in history, right? And you know how far Greece is from Britain? I'm like, why can't my Nigerian behind claim Egypt, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not from here, you're from West Africa. I said, bro, you're from an island of Europe. How you gonna claim Greece? So don't let nobody tell you you have to be super accurate, to celebrate black civilizations, all right? Just claim them all, right? And they're the first ones to claim Rome, and if you've ever seen a true Italian, they're nothing like British people in any way, shape, or form, so.
Love it, love it, love it. It's a time for kings and queens.
Right.
Absolutely. So thank you both so much for taking the time. We're so glad to have you here. We're looking forward to sharing the comic book with